Now that's quite a few people. So with Hornby and Bachmann figures at around £9 for 6 to 8 people, I thought I'd go on eBay and see if I could find anything better. And I ended up finding this, 100 people for only £5.39. I thought that was a pretty good deal. So after ordering them, these came in the post a week later. So here you can see all the designs of the people. So along the top here and to there, we've got the seated figures, which isn't actually that many. However, it's still a good few. So we're going to zoom in now and have a closer look at some of the figures. So, a few of them are actually pretty nice. Like this one here, for example. Well, I've actually got 6 of these. So this is just a man holding a bag. And as you can see, it's pretty nice. The only issue is I see with this is that the back of the bag isn't painted. And the man's head has gone a bit of the colour of its coat. Now, I think this is a running issue with a lot of them. A lot of them seem to have, see, this one here hasn't got the back colour of their head. So, it kind of looks a bit like a hoodie. However, I guess you could paint this if you had the correct paint colour. Now, some of these are blatantly weird, like this one here. Just look at the colour on that. Just a bit poor, isn't it? But some of them are actually really nice. So, a few of them more like this. So, another one of these men with the suitcases. And we've also got quite a few of people with walking sticks, which is nice. And then we've also got a few people with like a walking sort of pose like these here. These seem to be quite tall. As I mentioned before, we have got a few seated people too. So I've got 11 here, and for example, one is here. So I say issue here again with the back of the head. However, on a whole, it's quite a nice figure. Now another issue with a few of them, let me just see if I can find one, is this here. So on the back of them you can, I'm not sure how well this is going to come out, but yeah, you can see a small circle where it was probably where the mould was joined on sort of thing. So that's a bit of an issue. However, you could do something like sand it down or something like that. But on a whole, these are actually alright figures, to be honest. So there's just another one. The only issue is that a lot of them are the same sort of colour. So it might be hard to get away with all these. It's like families of different, all wearing the same colour. Paint over them, obviously. You could change the colour. At the end of the day, they're a good basis. So you see like plain figures that you paint. So this is also a good example of that sort of thing, because you can paint them to whatever style you want. And there's quite a few different styles we got here with people hands up, people just standing around, people walking. You do want to bear in mind though that these are actually 1/75 scale, not 1/76 like 00. So it's very, very, very close. However, they are slightly bigger than 00. However, with the size, I think you can quite easily get away with. So here I've got one of my HST coaches, which is actually the disabled standard coach. Bit weird actually, as it's got first class seating in it. But I guess that's just the older style MK3, isn't it, with the 1+2. So what I've got is a selection of people. As I've got 100, I've decided, and I've got 8 coaches on my HST, decided to put maybe about 8 in each, because I obviously want some to put on the mini exhibition layout after I've maybe done a bit of modification. However, I've chosen some of the ones I don't think I'll put on the layout, as you can't really see them too well inside the coach. So what we're obviously going to need to do is cut the legs off and stick them in the seat. Now quickly, I just want to point out, some of these are actually very different in height. So for example, like these two here, quite a lot of difference there, as you can see. So I've got a bit of blue tack, because I don't really want to glue them in right now. I might glue them in the future, for I'm not too sure. So if we just kind of like work our way down. So we'll start small. There we go. No legs anymore. Right, now we're just going to work our way down and find the right height roughly, I'd say. Yeah, way too high still. Cut straight up to the body, I think. All pieces of legs flinging everywhere. Yeah, still a bit too high, I think. The arms are a bit in the way as well. But yeah, I'm planning to try and fit people into every coach in my HST, which should be nice. See it whirring around with people in. Well, when you got direct light, obviously, otherwise you can't really see them. So there you go. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll stick her in there, as I kind of test her in there already. Get a bit of blue blue tack. Put them in there. There we go. Nice and tight. Push it down. There we go. I think that's going to look pretty good inside the HSC, as you can see there. So what I'm going to go and do now is time lapse me doing the rest of them, and I'll come back to you when I'm done. So hello and welcome back. So you can see I've fitted now 6 of the figures, and to be honest I think they look pretty good. Hopefully you agree with me. So now the final 2 I've got here are, well, they're both doing action. So one's got his hand up with a bag and one's got a walking stick. So I decided for these ones to actually just stick them in the centre of the carriage. Maybe, I don't know, the guy's like holding his hand up saying come back here or something, I don't know. But I'm just going to stick, oh right, so we stick him there. Right, he's quite tall, so what I think we're going to need to do is chop him down a bit still, but obviously not all the way like the other ones. Just cut on the stick a bit, just basically cut off his feet. There we go. Right, and oh, let's just check that's the right height. Still a bit high. Just cut a bit more off. So you want to be careful when cutting these, because instead of cutting a load off the first time and realising they're the completely wrong height, you'd rather cut off less than you wanted the first time and then just cut a little bit off each time. So there we go. Ooh. Quite thin corridor. I can imagine it with 2 plus 2. It'd be impossible to get someone in, wouldn't it? I guess these seats are actually quite wide, but still. Okay, so like that. Right, the other person. So just gonna let's check his height. Yeah, he's slightly tall. Too tall. Just cut his feet off. Do the same sort of thing. Blob a bit of blue tack on, not too much, just a bit. Have him like maybe like here, maybe coming into the carriage or something. I don't know. So there we go, there's our coach. I think that looks pretty good. We're enjoying a trip to Paddington or the West Country, depending on which way it's going, but there you go. So I think that looks pretty good. Because the only thing left to do is to put the shell back on. So I love these MK3 shells, they're so easy to put on. There you go, hopefully you can see a few of the people in there. Not sure how well that's coming through. Right, I think I'm just going to try and get a few shots of it on the layout now. So now we're up in the loft and I've got a bit of a comparison to do. So the first coach we got here is actually got a few people, as you can see one there, from a Bachmann seated figure which come with no legs, so they're perfect for putting straight into the trains. So this is a, as I just said, a Bachmann seated figure. Now I had a few more in here, but I took some out and put them in my GWR class 153 for the mini exhibition layout. So there's only a couple left in there. But you can see there it does look pretty detailed from the outside. And it looks pretty good probably on the inside too. So next coach we got is fitted with people from Olivia's train. So I paid a few pound extra to get some people fitted. Now as you can see, these are a lot smaller So there's a few there, but yeah, there's 8 in there. And then the final one is the coach we just fitted, so it's quite a tall person in there. But there we go, then we've got some people in the windows, which I think look pretty good, to be honest. In the comments below, put down your favourite. It'll be interesting to see what everybody thinks. Here's another quick comparison. So we have a seated person here. This is either Hornby or Bachmann. And here we have one of the people. So you can obviously see he's got quite longer legs. I do think I've got a bit of a weird angle there where her feet aren't touching the floor. But to be honest, they do look quite similar, other than the fact he's got a bit of paint on his head. However, I think you might be able to get away with that if you did a little work on him. So here you can see a few of the people at the station end of my mini exhibition layout. I've only blue tacked them down for the time being, however I will glue them. I might do a bit of work to them first, but to be honest they do look alright. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that video on those cheap figures. To be honest, they're alright, especially if you're going to paint them or modify them anyway. Then you've really got yourself a solid thing there. I'm not sure if you'd want to put them next to a Hornby or Bachmann figure, for example, as these are actually 1/75 scale, and the lack of detail, they might look a bit weird next to each other. But I definitely recommend these for coaches, as you can cut them down to size. The only issue is though, if you have coach lighting, you may be able to see them a bit better, so you may want to give them a bit of paint or whatever. However, otherwise you're absolutely fine. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the images on the eBay listing are completely different to the people I actually received. You can see the styles on the listing I didn't receive, one obvious one being the children designs. I'm unsure why I didn't receive any, however I still received a good variety of designs. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video then. It would be great if you could like and subscribe, as well as maybe share this with someone who has a large layout that needs lots of people. So I guess I'll see you in the next one. See ya!